And welcome to another Monday night podcast. Tonight's podcast is going to focus on complete sentences. I know we spent a lot of time talking about it, but I just wanted to kind of take a chance to review it a little bit more. So imagine a world without complete sentences. A world like that would look like: today, my brother and I rode our bikes. My bike is new. When we got to the bike path, I got a flat tire. I didn't realize it until my bike became so hard to pedal that I could barely move my legs. My brother had to go back home for help. Whoa! It's amazing what happens when you don't have periods, how hard it is to read a sentence. So really, it's important that we separate our sentences. So they're just a sentence basics. Every sentence expresses a complete thought. Every sentence is made up of a subject, which is usually like a noun, and a predicate. Subject are words that tell what the sentence is about. And a predicate is a word or words that tell or ask what the subject does. So for example, let's take a very simple sentence: I ran. So I is the subject, I is a person, and ran. What did the person do? They ran. Okay, so subject is the I, ran is the predicate. James Watt developed an early steam engine. The subject of the sentence is James Watt. And what did James Watt do? He developed an early steam engine. That is the predicate, the whole blue. We need copper wire to make the circuit. We is the subject. What did we do? We needed copper wire to make the circuit, and that is the predicate. What happens with a sentence fragment is that it's lacking either a subject or a predicate. So, for example, the sentence includes the Supreme Court. What includes the Supreme Court? There's no subject here. What's missing is the subject, which is the judicial branch of the government includes the Supreme Court. So this is the subject of the sentence. In addition, besides for fragments, we also want to avoid run-ons. Run-ons are when the sentences go on and on and on and on and on and on, and we forget to add punctuation like my first slide. So, James Naismith used a peach basket for the goal in his new game. That's why he called the game basketball. Wow. So really what I needed to do is I needed to insert a period over here, and then and that's one way of doing it. Oh my gosh. So let's look at what ways are doing this are. So what I could do is exactly what I just did now, is I could do James Naismith used a peach basket for the goal in his new game, period. That's why he called the game basketball. So I could just have made it to two sentences. Or since we know our lovely comma rules, what I could have done is I could have connected with the fanboys, because this is technically an independent clause. And on the right side, it's an independent clause. All I need is to connect it with a coordinating conjunction. And if you remember, we always need to put the coordinating conjunction after the comma, not before the comma. After the comma, not before the comma. However, speaking of commas, it's very important that whenever you use a comma, that you avoid what's called a comma slice. A comma slice is when you basically just join a complete sentence without putting like a coordinating conjunction or whatever. So, for example, bulls are colorblind. They charge at movement, not color. All I did was take the sentence, the bulls are colorblind, and the sentence, they charge at movement, not color. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put a comma here and combine it. Doesn't work that way. You need what's called a coordinated conjunction. Or you need to make it into two complete sentences. You can't just put a comma just because you're interested in putting a comma. So this does not work. This is what's called a comma slice, when you just connect two sentences with a comma. I could have done it also here. James Naismith used a peach basket for the goal in his new game. I'm like, okay, let me just add a comma to avoid the run-on. That would not work as well. You have to add a coordinating conjunction. How I know that you watch this podcast? You need to write a sentence that has a subject and a predicate, and you need to underline the subject, and you need to double underline the predicate in addition to your right source work. Have a great night. Oh, this is not. Sign off. Why is this not signing off?